Okay, so thank you so much and welcome. My name is Elizabeth Pampalone, and I am a trainer with the SBDC. I also have my own marketing company, and we're rebranding right now. So our new brand is called Beyond the Cause, and what that means is that we actually help small businesses and nonprofits with all their stuff that goes beyond what they do, that goes beyond their main mission, like all that marketing stuff and all that advertising stuff and the websites and all the things that actually help us do what we want to do, but we help you with all of that behind the scenes. So you guys know me as the web design chick. I've been around a lot. You've probably been to some of my classes. Some of you are probably clients, so welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about algorithm-proof social media. And what does that mean? So I developed a system several years ago for myself that I call algorithm-proof social media. And what that means is we don't worry about the algorithms. And really, you can't. There's just too many of them to make it like worth it, to keep up with all of it. They just change all the time. Google's constantly changing. Facebook is constantly changing. So what I did was I created a formula for myself that allowed me to create massive amounts of social media posts at one time. And then I could send those out in like a drip campaign, kind of over time in little drips, rather than trying to sit down every single day and go, what am I supposed to post on social media? And I called it algorithm proof because I wasn't worried about what the algorithms were doing. I wasn't worried about what Google or Facebook said. I was worried about what my customers wanted from me, what my clients and potential clients needed from me on a daily basis or a weekly basis. Same thing goes for, blogging and website content, stuff like that. But with social media, it's so constant. A lot of people, what happens is they get to the end of the day and they stay there and they think, oh my God, I don't have anything to post. I forgot to post. Wasn't I supposed to do that? And so you just get kind of caught up in worrying about what you should have done or what you didn't do. And so this kind of eliminates all that. This gets you 6 months on the board, one day, and you're done. So I hope and I encourage you to really take some notes for yourself. We're going to have some questions that I'm going to ask you. This is kind of a work through it type of thing. So take some notes as you're going and really try and brainstorm for yourself how you can apply this to your business. And again, like I said, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them as we go as well. So again, like I said, my name is Elizabeth Pampalone, marketing expert, whatever, like networking queen. So yeah. A lot of people tell me that they really, really hate social media. And you guys should all be able to see a screen right now that says, really? I hate social media. So if y'all see that, if you don't see something or you're seeing the video lag, let me know and we'll try and fix those things. But you should see this right now. And I tell people, you know what? You don't have to use social media. Does it help? Yes. Is it something that I recommend? Yes. But you don't have to. I'm giving you permission right now to say, I don't want to use social media. There's plenty of other ways to market and network and do things, for your business. Even in times like this, there's still ways you can use on the online world without using social media. But social media is very helpful because it's a very quick and easy and free way, often a free way to get your message out there to a lot of people, especially at a time when everyone is just scrolling through, their phones and they're just saying, I'm just sitting there all day, just scrolling. So it's a really easy way to do that. But I'm giving you permission right now. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, because there's a lot of other ways you can get your word out there. All right. 85-ish% of people use social media. So internet users, 85% have a social account. So this is the reason why I said it's a great way to do this. It's a great option, but again, it's not the only way. And we want to use social media as a part of a whole. So this is not a silver bullet. Social media is not your magic answer to everything. We want to remember that this is a piece of marketing. This is one of what I call the 5 pillars. And it's just one of the 5. There are 4 other ones that we also have to worry about. So don't take this as, being the only way you can do this. This is only a part. But this is the type of people, this is the amount of people that are on social media. The first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure we know our target market. And our target market is very, very precious to all types of marketing. If you don't know your target market, this can really derail you when you're trying to use social media. And the way you find your target market is often by having a business plan. Is anybody want to do the raise hand option and just let me know how many people have a business plan already in place? Even if it's just one page, if you go to the little section, it should say raise hand, there's a little button, or you can just tell me in the comments in the chat. But tell me if you have a business plan. I'd like to know some feedback from you guys. Do you have a business plan? Okay, got a couple. Joni has one. Nancy, Ellen, okay. Yeah, okay, go. Awesome. You guys are awesome. So if you are not one of these people that has put in a comment or raised your hand, let me tell you something. This is the foundation. Before we even go further, I want you to go find a one-page business plan, go on score.org, go to SBDC resources, go online and find a business plan. Even if it's just a one-pager, because this will help you really narrow down so that you're not just trying to like spray and pray with social media, because that's really what happens a lot of the time. So what we want to know is, who is this person? And also, if you have a business plan, even if it's one page, even if your company has one, this could be something that you could do for yourself, like have your own business plan as a professional, because you could actually narrow it down to just your niche. Like you are making a business plan for you and how you sell and how you market yourself within a larger company. So even having a business plan for just you is really important. And 50% more likely to succeed if you have a plan. A lot of times we keep things in our head, and that's a very bad thing, because we change our minds all the time. And we change our ideas and we get influenced by others all the time. This business plan, if you write it down, you can go back and look at it and say, this is what I was thinking. That's right. This doesn't align with what I wrote down. This doesn't align with my main vision. So I don't need to be doing X, Y, and Z. I don't need to be adding A, B, and C to my offering, my what I'm doing here. I need to keep focused. And that can really help you long term, especially when it comes to like trying to choose which marketing avenues to go down. So a good business plan will have a mission statement and a vision statement, and then it will use a target market analysis, which means who are you actually targeting? Demographics, we're going to go through a little bit of that. Psychographics, stuff like that, okay? The mission and vision, I really feel like those embody your whole brand. Now, again, with social media, you need to have a whole brand. You need to have a complete brand. If you feel like your brand is just a logo, then you don't have a brand. That mission is supposed to come into play. That vision is supposed to come into play, because these things will influence what you say on social media, how you present yourself on social media. And we don't want to have, get to the end of this presentation and say, well, I don't know what to say now, because we don't have a mission and a vision backing that up. If we have those things in place in a business plan that we've written, or some kind of, personal business plan that we've written, then we can actually go back to that and say, this is what I need to post based on my mission and vision. This is what I need to say and how I need to say it based on my mission and vision. So that brand, that voice, that embodiment of who you are as a person, who you are as a brand, who you are as a company, all those pieces come into play with social media. So this is really what I consider, I do a 5-day session with people, and this is day 3. So the first day is brand. We got to get that nailed down. We got to get that solid. We want people to know who they are first. You have to know yourself before you can really tell others who that is. Then we do the website, which really gives us a broad platform for who you are and what you do. And then we go to social media. Now that we've spent 2 days with our brand and we really know who we are, and we've been able to kind of communicate that in a broad way, now we come to social media and we really narrow that down to these little incremental daily little tidbits that we're going to put out, right? So now we can actually choose what those social media pieces will be. But if we don't have that solid brand, and we don't have that solid, overall, like broad spectrum of who we are and what we do, that copy that we would put on a website, then the social media is going to kind of fall flat. So you want to go back to these pieces if you don't have these pieces really solid. If you feel like, I got these, no problem, move on, that's great. But if you don't have them, I recommend that you go back and look through these and make sure that those are solid first. All right, I'm going to show you this photo. Everybody should be able to see why do you need a strong brand? This is a photo here. You should be seeing a palette, coffee table, a rug, some things like that, right? So do you guys see that? Are you guys like seeing on track with me? Good. Okay. So does anybody give me an answer in the chat who this reminds you of? Whose brand is this? Can you tell me? Anybody give me some guesses? Whose brand is this? IKEA, that's a good guess. Wayfair, okay. IKEA, another one, all right. I'm thinking of a person, so go more personal brand. Maybe go that direction. Think of a brand, a personal brand that seems like this. Anybody have any ideas? Joanna Gaines, okay. All right, anybody else? Oh, Joanna Gaines again, okay. All right, well, let me tell you, this is a stock photo. This is a stock photo. This is the brand that I was thinking of. So you guys got it right, Joanna Gaines, correct. Fixer Upper. It was a stock photo that has nothing to do with Joanna Gaines. But because you can look at a stock photo and go, that's that person. It makes me think Martha Stewart. It makes me think IKEA. It makes me think Joanna Gaines. It really doesn't matter who you thought of. I just picked this because that was kind of the biggest one I could think of. But this idea that a stock photo can make you think of a specific brand, that is powerful. And so when we put out stuff on social media, we want to kind of embody this ideal that we could put a stock photo up and someone would go, that's Elizabeth. That's definitely her. I use my color green so much. I actually changed my shirt before I came on, so I was wearing green. And I always want to make sure that I have something green I got my green plant right back here. And so I want to make sure that there's always something green there, whether I'm wearing it, whether I have it as a part of my background, whether it's when I do text. So when I type on Facebook and they have those backgrounds you can choose, I always choose a green one. Even if it's not the right shade, I still choose a green one when I'm posting on different groups and things like that. I want my brand to be front and center no matter what I'm doing. And this will really help you to create more content for social media because it is so constant and there are so many little drips. We want to make sure that we don't have to recreate the wheel every single time we do this. And so by using things like stock photos that really embody the brand, but again, we have to have that strong brand identity. We have to know who we are before we can choose those things. This will really help you to create more content quicker. So I use a lot of green. If you go on my Facebook group or my Facebook page, I post every single day, and I post things, questions and engagement posts, and sometimes just go outside and have fun. Like I have different things I post all the time. And so those things are all embodying my brand though. And so it makes it easier for me to create the content because I know that I can choose these few things, add some green, and I'm good because it goes with my brand and it just says what I need to say without going overboard. So someone asked a question about recording. Yes, we're recording this. I'm fingers crossed recording. Everything is good. And then also, what if you have multiple businesses? So when you have multiple businesses, you have to do this siloed for each one. You shouldn't have one brand that kind of encompasses a bunch of things. You really want to narrow down and find that niche for each one. And then you would silo this and do this process twice or 3 times or how many ever businesses you have. All right. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, the target market analysis. So now we're actually going to get into that a little bit. You guys have heard this idea of creating an avatar. This is something that's been out there. A lot of people use this term. I just used it because it's well known and a lot of people know it. But basically, it's finding that demographic, that person that really represents who you're trying to reach. And we want to know who that is first. So I have a couple of examples here, and I will send these links to you guys. And I don't know if it's going to let me share this real quick, but I'll send these links to you guys. What this does is these are specific target market analysis for each of these groups. So Publix has one, Target, and then I picked Jif as a company as well because it's not a store, it's actually a product line. So these will actually show you very specifically what their target market is, who their target market is, down to age, ethnicity, college education, amount of money they make. There was a really great site that used to be all free. I used it all the time. That used to have Victoria's Secret and Target, Publix, all these different things. They would show you this information. These are the 3 that are left that are free. So I'll send these links out when I send the video recording out. But these really dig down into these companies. So if you look at Publix, and I'll just give you some anecdotal information from that, they actually have on their website, it's a grocery store here in the US, they have on their on this website, they're showing us that their clientele is actually 50 plus. They have families and kids, but mostly it's 50 plus, because where are they mostly located? In Florida, the retirement capital of the world. So we are having this huge population of older, senior citizens there that they're here. And so that's their most of their population that comes to their stores. They also have highly educated because they're older. They've had time to do those things, right? They also have a higher income bracket. Then if you go to like Target is a little bit more broad. They have a more national presence. And so their demographic is different, and their income and their education levels are all different. Also, in Florida with Publix, since they're mostly based in Florida, they have a huge Hispanic population that's part of their target market. So these things all come into play to really give us a good picture of who they're trying to serve. And so if you see Publix doing something in their advertising, or you see Target doing something, or even Jif, because they're really targeting moms with kids, in that middle income range. So they have a very specific thing. So if they're doing something in their marketing, it's because they're trying to get to their people even more targeted. Because we don't want to try and to convince people that they should work with us or to buy from us. We want to persuade them. And if we only have to persuade someone to work with us, that means they were already part of that circle that was going to probably work with us anyway. But if we have to convince someone to work with us, then that can be a bit of a challenge, because they may not have even been in our circle to begin with. So we have to try and convince them, and it's like this struggle. So with social media, we want to know who those people are, so that we're not trying to convince people that aren't really part of that circle to begin with. So I'll send these target market examples out to you guys, and you can look through them. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, I serve everybody. No, you don't. You don't serve everybody. If you did, there'd be only like 5 companies in the world, and they'd serve everybody, and that would be it. But we serve very specific people. I serve different people than my friend Aaron Gordon, who owns another agency here in town. We do the same things, but we don't do it for the same people. And so we're friends. We know each other. We colleagues. We send clients back and forth all the time. But it's because she gets a client and she's like, you know what, these aren't the right clients for me. They're not going to work with my process. I get a client, I'm like, these aren't the right clients for me. So I try to find the alternatives, because there's always someone else that's going to be able to help those people as well. So we want to be really specific, because it's not going to limit us. It's going to focus everyone else so that they can send us the right people, and that they can share our message effectively and efficiently, rather than saying, oh yeah, that Elizabeth girl, she does websites. People say, did you know Elizabeth does website in a day? Okay, that's very specific, right? It's only for a certain number of people. It's not going to be for the Fortune 500 company. It's not going to be for these massive people with 500 employees. That's not my target. That's not who I'm going after. I'm going after the small businesses. And so when someone says Elizabeth does websites, well, can she build me an e-commerce website with like Amazon? Well, no, I couldn't really do that. But if you say, hey, I'm a small business, I need a website. Well, I build a website in a day. Oh, that sounds perfect. So it's really about limiting who you're trying to focus on and who you're targeting, so that you can actually get that message out effectively. And this really is really important with social media, because we only have a short time frame. We get one little post, and sometimes our people don't even see that. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. All right, demographics. You guys have seen this. Like, you guys know this, okay? Age, location, gender, income, education, marital status, occupation, ethnicity, right? Those are the basics, right? They don't change. We always market for that. We always find those people, find out where they live, their gender preferences, because sometimes our products are for males or females more. It depends, right? The income level, so that we know that they can afford the product that we're trying to sell or the service we're trying to offer. All these pieces come into play, whether you want to say that you don't have, well, it doesn't matter. Men and women both buy my product. Well, men and women both buy my product too. However, I target females. That's my target market. Females actually between the ages of 40 and 60. There's a lot of younger women that I've worked with, They don't need me as much. They're not as, like, they're like, I got this, whatever, or their boyfriend will do it for them, right? But then I also work with men, but I target my marketing towards women. It's a little bit more feminine, it's a little bit more girly, because I'm a woman and that's who I can relate to the best. But I've worked with a lot of men clients who are very grateful for the help, and they need what I'm offering. And they're like, hey, I want to do marketing. I need your help. Let's do it. We do it, and it's great. But they're not the target. So I'll catch what I used to liken it to fishing. You go out and you fish. You're fishing for, trout, and you catch a salmon. Well, you're going to take the salmon home. You're not going to throw them back, right? So that's the kind of thing. You want to say, I'm going for this one demographic, women, 40 to 60, income level, certain thing, all that stuff, right? But if you catch a salmon, that guy that comes up, hey, I need that too. I could buy that for my wife, whatever. You work with that, right? All right, so let me grab a drink here. Okay, now here comes the fun part. Hold on one second. It's not Corona, I promise. All right, so psychographics. I don't know if you guys have really delved into this at all, but this is going to be a huge thing for your business going forward. This is not just saying, who are my people and where are they? This is going into personality, values, behaviors, lifestyles. This is diving deeper into what people need and who they really are. This isn't just saying, I'm Elizabeth, I'm female, I'm white, I'm 34, I live in Jacksonville. Like, that's just the basics, right? But this is about, I'm outgoing. I really love business. I'm, have my interests and hobbies. And so this is really going into that, who that person is. And I know that you've probably heard also that you want to take your target market and act like they're a person. You want to build a person. And that's what this whole avatar thing is about. You're building the ideal person. If you have 10 clients like that, 20, 30 clients like that, oh my gosh, you'd be happy all your life. You'd have, no worries about anything. They'd be perfect clients, and you just love working for them every day, and you'd make all the money you want to make. So if we can know who that person is, we can more effectively go after that person. When we get those clients all the time, probably not, but we can at least target for that. Okay. And if we can tell people who effectively who we want, then they can help us market also. So that word of mouth is a huge marketing tool that a lot of people use. Sometimes they don't even know they're using it. But this is a way for us to help that word of mouth be more specific, to know who our people are so we can tell others this is who we're trying to target and who we're trying to go after. All right, this is a fun little exercise I like to do before we get to the social part, because we're going to write some stuff down. We're going to get through some other things. Does anybody have any questions before we go into this exercise? Any questions? Put them in the chat if you'd like. No? Okay. Does everybody have a good, solid target market? Is there anybody struggling with the target market? You need to be specific. Anybody questions? Okay. Just put your questions in the chat if you have any. So I'm going to give you an example, and I want you to chat, reply in the chat if you have a question or if you want to answer this. If you're ignoring the algorithm, how do you address current events? How to figure out their personality and interests. Okay, let's address this first question. If you're ignoring the algorithm, how do you address current events? So the algorithm is based on you playing to that. So they want you to post at certain times. They want you to pay for boosting your posts. They want you, the Facebook, for example, I'm just using that as an example. They want you to, do ads and things like that. What happens when you do all that, especially with ads, and I'm not going to go into a whole ads diatribe because I will if I get off track, but with ads, whether it's Google, Facebook, any kind of ad system that you pay on a regular basis and you pay for so many impressions, so many clicks, things like that. What happens with those is you start out with $100 a month, $500 a month, and you go for a while and you're not really seeing much traction. Maybe your ads aren't great. Maybe you're not telling the right message, whatever that reason is. Maybe it's just the ads aren't working. Maybe they're not being seen enough, or you don't have your target demographics in your ads correct. So then what you would do, what would happen is you would maybe lower your amount you're spending or just stop altogether. Well, Facebook and Google don't like that very much. So what they do is they tend to favor people who are paying, obviously. And searches and, different services, when, Facebook will serve up posts and things like that, they won't show your stuff as much. So the algorithms typically are around 20% visual. And so with Facebook, your post is seen. It has what's called a half-life of about 90 minutes. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But it's only seen so many times by so many people. You might have 1,000 people on your list, but only about 100 people to 200 people may even see it. So, you might have 1,000 followers, but you're not getting seen that much unless you're boosting. Because then if you're boosting posts, then Facebook likes that because you're paying them. So there's different reasons I say to ignore the algorithm. As far as current events, you're still talking to your customers through these channels. You're not necessarily trying to, if you're trying to like get more sales and stuff like that, using ads is fine. But just know that once you stop, it's kind of like what I consider a protection racket. Once you stop, they don't like it that you're not paying anymore. And they might do some things to kind of push down some of the interaction you're getting. It's not documented, but I have been around it enough to see it actually happen. And so I try to keep people off of those roller coasters because it can just be a roller coaster of money out the window. So let me go to the next question. I hope that answered your question. And we can always talk offline as well. You can go to my website, elizabethpampalone.com, and you can book a chat with me. And I'd love to go back and forth with you about that a little more if you want to kind of get more in depth and maybe more about your specific situation. Okay, so how to figure out personality and interests. You should know your girl, I guess. That's my way of saying it. So if you have a specific demographic that you're going after, let's say, women, I'm doing women over 40 to 60, and their interests and their hobbies have to do with maybe a cause or a passion that they have. Maybe they're running a nonprofit. Maybe they are starting a small business, and they want to do things efficiently, but maybe they have other interests as well. Like maybe they go to TPC. So, when it's running. So maybe they go to these golf tournaments. Maybe they play tennis. Maybe they, so just things that you would know about that type of person. You can also ask your current clients, where do you hang out on the weekends? What are other things you like to do? What would, maybe you're selling a product, maybe not a service. And you could say, well, what would go good with this product or this service that I'm offering you that's also a part of your life? Who else that's in your life could I also reach out to and expand my marketing that way? So maybe there's a club they belong to. Maybe they're part of a garden club and you're, doing like personal fitness stuff. You could say, well, I want to do a garden walk. Like there's a lot of ways you can kind of massage this, going from finding out just who they are to finding out what their personality is. So, and what their interests are. So you want to ask your current clients that are your ideal clients, let me know more about you as a person. And then you can kind of branch off from there. Okay, let's see. Is there a good way to have one way to have a website to address 3 different businesses that are owned by you? So yeah, so when you're doing 3 different businesses, you really need to figure out, is it 3 different businesses or is it 3 different brands? And if it's 3 different brands, are they actually 3 different product brands? So if you notice things like Nestle, they own a ton of brands. And so if you, not a good idea, but it is possible to do that. Was not a good idea, Kia. Okay. So if you have 3 different brands, like Nestle, they own a lot of brands, but they're still Nestle and they own all of them there, but they're all marketed separately. So you want to make sure that you are, right, you don't want to put all the brands together unless they are actually just product versions. So for example, I have a thing called Borrow a CMO. It's kind of its own like mini brand, but it's not its own business. It's just a product that I offer that has its own branding. I also offer Absolute Marketing. It's not its own business, but it's a part of the larger business. It's like an umbrella, right? So we can definitely talk more about that offline as well. So Margaret, if you want to definitely contact me, I'm going to just put in the chat really quick my my website. You guys, if you want to book a chat with me, I am happy to talk with whoever about whatever, because I love talking about marketing, as you can see. And we're going to move on to the next thing. I'm going to put the chat link here to make sure it's spelled correctly. Okay, so you guys have that. And yeah, Kay actually, he has multiple brands and three separate businesses sort of, and he tried to put them all together. So yeah, he's an expert at that too. All right, so let's move on from the questions, question break to this portion, which is a fun little exercise I like to do. Is you get your chat fingers ready. We're going to be doing some Q&A here. I'm going to give you an example of a product, and I want you to give me your answers, okay? We are selling a toy in general. We're not giving it any kind of other information, just then we're selling some toys. And I want you to tell me who is the buyer, purchaser, who is the end user, consumer, who we got here? Who are we selling this toy to? Who are we marketing this toy to? Which one of these pieces? Parents, those are some good answers, okay. Buyer's a parent, end user's child, mother, okay. Some good feedback here. Mom, all right, parents, kids, customer, parents, consumer, kid, okay. User is kids, grandma, that's a good one. I always say grandmas. Man or woman, grandparents, aunts, etc. Children, parents, kids, daycare. Daycare, one. That's an interesting one. I haven't heard that one before. So, okay, I'm going to give you some of the answers here. The buyer is the person with the money. So whoever's got the money, whether it's the daycare, the mom, the parents, you know, the grandparents, it's whoever has the money. We always want to remember that there's always a buyer involved in our marketing. So when whoever we're talking to, we have to talk to that buyer. It's a person who has the money who's going to actually get it to the consumer or to the end user. Then we have the end user who may or may not be the same person as the buyer. When you're working with a small business one-to-one, you may, you know, when I market a website, I'm usually talking to the owner, and they're the buyer and they're the end user in most cases. Obviously their clients would be the end user, but they're the ones who are purchasing the product for themselves to utilize, right? Now, when you talk about a toy or other types of products, you're like Kay said here, and you know, Jean said, you've got totally different demographics that are coming into play. And you might be marketing it to a store to sell, and then they sell it to the consumer. So then they have to then further market it for you. You might be marketing it to a daycare where they're going to buy a bunch of them, and you have to give the reasons why this is a great toy, how long it's going to last. You might be marketing it to parents. It's not noisy. It doesn't require batteries. It's educational. All those things, right? But it still has to appeal to the kids. So you've got a lot going on here when you're trying to market something. Now, when we do social media posts, you may have these 5 different things going on. These stores, these teachers, these daycares, these kids, these parents, you've got all these people, right? What we'll do then is we'll start targeting one post to one person. We don't want to say, well, this post is kind of about, you know, information for stores and how the increase of toy sales has gone up over the last year and blah, blah, blah. That really only appeals to stores, okay? So you would post about that. Don't be afraid to do that. It's content. It's good content. And it's going to appeal to those people that are on your store, you know, on that store mindset. You might also send it as an email directly to those people. But then you have the teachers and the daycares, and maybe even the parents. That kind of maybe it would all fold into one if you talk about it as an educational piece. Then with the parents, you might talk about a safety option, you know, safety things about it, or the durability, or, you know, whatever that is, right? So you're going to take that toy and you're going to make all this content based on just things you would normally tell each individual group. But because you want to appeal to most of your buyers, your purchasers, and also kind of a little bit to the kids in that way, then you want to be able to talk to all of those people at once. But you want to make sure your posts don't say, you don't want to try to appeal everyone in one post. You want to be giving targeted information, because not everyone's going to see every post, and not every post is going to be relevant to every person. So if you have multiple target markets within one product or service, you want to be able to utilize that to your advantage with social media. All right, questions, let me know. So now we're getting to the social media part. I know it's kind of like business one-on-one type of stuff, but I really wanted to make sure we were on the same foundation and on the same page with this, because those pieces, if you don't have them, then all this rest of the stuff doesn't matter. All right. So what is social media to you? A lot of people tell me, I hate social media. It's such a waste of time. I'm constantly scrolling on my phone, then I never get anything done. I wish I was never on social media, but I have to be for my business. There's just all these things that people have this negative connotation. But what social media really is, and if you think about it in this way for your business, it's a connector. It's another touch. It's another way that you can be in front of people without bothering them, if that makes sense. So we want to use it to our advantage, but we also want to use it because we already have stuff that we do that's awesome, and we just need to share that on social media. So when I talk with people, I ask people a lot of questions when I do 15-minute phone calls with people. I'm like, it's just like a series of questions. I have them all in my head. I just kind of all the way through. I use those same questions in my social media because it gets people talking. It gets people thinking. When I do coaching sessions, when I do, that kind of stuff, I'm asking these same questions. And so I'm using those to my advantage. I'm already using them in my daily life. I'm already sharing certain information with people on a regular basis. I share the social media stuff all the time. I share it on my channel, on my Facebook page and things like that. If I find a new software or something or a cool way of doing something, I'll share that as well because it's something I'm going to share in my real life. So I'm going to also extend that to social media. It just gives me more content and more ability to reach people that wouldn't have normally just called me up on the phone or sent me an email. These are different people in a different sphere. So I want you to think of some things that you already do every day, questions you answer all the time, because we get those questions, right? We all have that list of like 4 or 5 questions that every client asks, every potential client asks. And we could be answering those on social media over and over and over. The other thing about social media is we're going to be doing a lot of repeating things. And some people say, well, that's not good and we don't want to repeat stuff. I can tell you right now, you probably don't remember something somebody sent you 2, 3, 6, 7 months ago. Also, you might not have been a part of that, group until recently. Maybe you signed up and you're following my page, you're new to my page. Well, I might have used the same question 6 months ago, but you would not know because you were never there. You were never there. So what we want to do is think of stuff that we're already doing and think of ways we can reuse stuff we've already created, whether we've created it in our head and we've, decided to put it from, verbal information that we're giving clients or potential clients into written information, or maybe we do a quick video and we just put that out on our page. And some of this can be done ahead of time and some of it, is on the fly. You just think of something, well, that was a great question from that client today. I want to share that with people. And you can just go on and just share it really quickly. So think of stuff you're already doing. And I don't know if any of you know who Mark Kay is. He's a great person to follow. He has a great way of approaching social media. He did a talk and he said you should use social media for what you're already doing, what you're already good at. Meaning he was actually, when he was a radio DJ and he did celebrity interviews when they would come to town and they would do their tours and stuff like that. And one of the things that he did was his kids were on Snapchat, and this was several years ago, and he had no idea what it was, and he was like, whatever, it's a kid's thing. Well, he got on it because he wanted to kind of monitor what the girls were doing, and he started realizing that a bunch of celebrities had their own channels on Snapchat. And the way that it works is it's not like Facebook where you can have an administrator and stuff like that. These were the actual celebrities, like just direct connection to them. So what he started doing was reaching out to them through Snapchat and saying, hey, I'm doing a segment on such and such on my show. Do you want to come on and we can do a pre-recorded thing and I can share it and we can talk about your new album or whatever it is, right? Because those celebrities weren't always in the area for traveling, and then he'd have to go through the publicist and there was this whole long thing. He just went right to the person, directly to the source. He actually ended up going to a New York conference and speaking at a national Snapchat conference because he had done all these things. So I want us to kind of break the mold a little bit and not worry about what Facebook and Google and Instagram and, Twitter and all these people say we should be doing. Like, here's the box, fill it. I want us to just say, well, I'm already doing these things in real life, so I'm just going to make them fit, I'm going to make the box fit them, right? So just take what you're already doing. I don't want you to reinvent too much, but take the things you do every day and then move forward with that. So for example, I had a wedding vendor. She had a venue, and she would help brides and help them pick out their, colors and talk about table settings and all these things, right? She was always giving advice. Well, people are always like, well, what flowers are blooming in May? I want to get fresh flowers, but I don't know what's going to bloom in May when I'm having my wedding. So what we did was we took every Friday and we looked up a list of all the flowers blooming that you could get at a florist during those months. And every single Friday for the entire year, it was called Flower Friday, and we just put one flower every Friday, whatever was blooming in that month. So when someone's planning their wedding a year ahead, they can go into that, oh, it's May, I'm planning my wedding for next year. Oh, look, this blooms in May. I'm going to get those flowers. I'm going to order those for May because they'll be fresh, they'll be curated, and won't have to wait around, won't be scarce. It'll actually be blooming and plentiful, so I can get it. So we just did something like that. I mean, it's something she was telling people all the time. Well, what flowers are blooming in May? Well, let's look it up. Okay, well, here's the list, And so we just did all that all ahead of time. Every single Friday, 52 Fridays, done. Something she was already doing. So this is an example, an idea. Okay, what is the #1 reason for social media? Does anybody know? Come on, you guys, What's the #1 reason? Connection. Okay, some good answers. What else? Connecting with clients. Keeping us relevant, sharing, building relationships, promotion. Oh my gosh, okay, making money, messaging, brand awareness. Okay, first of all, you're all correct. However, I always have one answer, and this is kind of everything boiled down to one answer, and that is to drive traffic to your website. The reason this is the main answer is because, and somebody just said, Joni just said, sell your product. Where do sales happen? I know Facebook has their little store thing, and I know like that Instagram's selling things now, but okay, where do real sales happen? When you go to a Facebook page or you see a Facebook ad and you click on it and it says, buy this thing, it's really cool, you'll love it. And you click on it to get a template or download something or buy something, right? Even buying can be a free thing. You can buy a free thing. So with your email, right? You're buying it with your email. So what you're doing is you're not actually buying on Facebook. You're not actually buying on Instagram. You're using Instagram or Facebook to get to a site that has the download you want, the thing you're going to purchase, put your information in, and we'll give you X, Y, and Z. We'll send you whatever, right? So all of these things are done on a website. That is why websites are so important. I've heard several people recently say that websites are not needed anymore, and you could just use landing pages and all this stuff. Not true. Social media is driving almost all of its traffic to websites, not just landing pages, because people want to feel like there's substantialness behind what's happening, what they're purchasing. They don't want to just feel like it's some random flight up, put up this quick page and be done, and then put up this quick page. They want to know that the thing that they're purchasing, the person they're giving their money to, has this established sense, okay? And also, what if they don't want to buy the product right now? What if they just want to like ask you a question, contact you? Maybe they're not sure how often you check your Facebook account, like, right? So I'm gonna go to a contact form before I go to like Facebook Messenger, for example. So it depends on your demographic. I'm a girl, woman, 30 something years old. So I have a certain way that I do things. I also check my email first thing every morning. The younger Gen Zs don't do that. So there's different things for different demographics. But this particular one is, if we want to build relationship, that's fine. We're going to have posts that don't have any asks, that don't have any links. We're building connection. We're building a relationship. We're building expertise and authority. But then when we do ask, we need it to drive somewhere that's going to make sense for them to purchase, ask questions, whatever those things are, okay? So just keep that in mind as you're creating these posts. We're going to talk about how many you're using in a minute, but I also want you to remember to put the ask in. As you write some of these things down, I want you to put that ask in there. A lot of small business owners, when they're doing social media stuff, they're like, well, I got to share this and I got to share that and I've got to you know, they try to be so sharey, and they forget to ask for the sale. So we don't want to forget to ask for the sale. All right. How many social media should you be using? 2 to 3. That's it. We don't want to be on every one of them. That's pointless. I'm also going to share which ones to choose. Okay. I'm going to hold this up here really quick, and I'm going to pull up another thing. Hold on one second. I'm also going to have this available if you guys want it. Let me just find it real quick. There's a demographic thing, a PDF that I put together on exactly which ones you should be using based on who is on each one of those. So let me pull that up. Here we go. All right, let me share this screen really quick. All right, let's go. Stop share. Okay, here it is. All right, so you guys can see this. This is 6 months of social media in a day. This is a book that I wrote, blah, 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 a lot of stuff we already talked about. Here we go, this is it. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in pretty far to this so we can kind of see 2 at a time here. This is the social media, these are the social media demographics as of 2020, or at the beginning of 2020, end of 2019, okay? So let me pull up the chat again real quick. Okay, where do you find the demographic specifics on generations? You mentioned Gen Z, doesn't open email first, thing in the AM, but your age group does. So I do a lot of this based on like little mini surveys. I do surveys of people when I do classes. I do it based on the people that I'm around, the people in my community. You're trying to go global or national, you're trying to be expanding a lot further. Then there's actually studies that you can find on all of this, like who, you know, percentage of people that open their email first thing in the morning, and you can find out who they are and what demographics they are and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about social media specifically, and there are actually lots of resources for this as well. You can type in 2020 social media demographics, and it'll tell you who's on which platforms where, but this is what I found, and I kind of compiled them all together. And if you guys have more questions, again, don't forget to scroll back to my link that I put in. It's my website, elizabethpampalone.com/book, and then you can book a call with me, and I'd love to chat like more in depth because I know some of this is going by a little fast. All right, so Facebook reaches more women than men. Best to reach older millennials, Gen X, and some boomers. And then 75% of users spend 20 or more minutes a day on Facebook. So this is a huge amount of time that you have the option to capture part of that. And the half-life of a post is 30 minutes. And the reason I'm putting this out there is because I've seen people spend an hour on a Facebook post. An hour. And it's only going to live for about 30 minutes. And so live means, in this half-life business, this means that your post is going to be on a feed, and then more stuff is going to come in, and your post is going to go down, down. Oh, I can't even see it anymore. It's gone. So that's what that half-life means. This is especially prevalent on Twitter. You know, there's so many tweets coming through so fast. So your post will just be down really fast, and you'll see that in a minute. YouTube is owned by Google. It's the second largest search engine in the world. And they have more 18 to 49-year-olds that they reach than cable TV. So if you're thinking about that TV ad, don't do it. This is a half-life of 6 days. 6 days. That's a long time for your post and your video to kind of hang out there in YouTube land before it gets, you know, kind of pushed down by other videos that are posting faster. So this is a great venue to get more search, to get more people, eyes on your product, eyes on your information. I personally use Vimeo. They have similar demographics, not quite as big as YouTube, but similar. But if you're wanting to reach people, this is a social media that you might want to be using more, especially if you do videos, especially if you have the ability to do that. And I use Loom. It's called useloom.com. I'll stick it in the comments here. It's a great product to record video. You can record your screen as well. It's not live webinar type stuff like this, but it's a great way to just record some video, get some screen capture as well, and then you can push it to YouTube. You can upload it to YouTube. So if you're not using video yet, this is a great way to do that. All right, let's move to, does anybody think that they're a YouTube or Facebook person, that their demographics are on YouTube or Facebook? Anybody feel like that? I hope that you guys are writing some of this down as far as which ones you think would work best for you. Facebook is going to be a big one. I think a lot of people are going to use Facebook, probably about 80% of you, if not 90% of you. But then YouTube is just that interesting one that not a lot of people like pay attention to all the time. All right, let's talk about Instagram and Twitter, my least faves. So Instagram is majority women and Twitter is majority men. I think it's appropriate that one's blue and one's pink. And I wonder if that has anything to do with who actually gravitated towards which. I know the whole gender thing is a very fluid thing at the moment, but I actually believe that those colors are still kind of ingrained in our everyday culture. And so I still feel like Instagram, and it's also Instagram is all pictures. I think women are drawn to photographs. And I think that's why a lot of brands that use photographs, heavy photographs, are, like Pinterest or like Martha Stewart, Joanna Gaines, it's all heavy on the photography, that women are more drawn to those things. And then men are more drawn to short, get to the point, snippets, right? Like it's very quick, very short. I read what I need to know and I'm moving to the next thing. And so that's what Twitter is. It's not very many pictures. I mean, they have some photos now, but they used to just be all text. And it was 140 characters. That's it. You're done. So I feel like a lot of people had moved towards that. A lot of men had moved towards that. Also, a lot of news outlets had moved towards that because it was an easy way to get out like a really quick news press release. 40% of users are under age 30 on Twitter. And also with Instagram, 75% of users are under age 35, 70% of them. So these are very specific types of platforms that cater to a very specific type of person. And then on Twitter, 50% of people never even post. They just lurk. They're just out there lurking. And then users spend an average of 2.5 minutes a day on Twitter. That's nothing. That's like, oh my gosh, that's like you open it and it's closed, right? You open it and you're done. The half-life of a post on Twitter is only 21 minutes. Just 21 minutes. And so you don't want to spend a ton of time writing your post if one, it's only going to be seen for 2.5 minutes, and also it's only going to be living on the platform really for like 21 minutes, Same thing with Instagram. 19 hours for the half-life of a post, not bad, better than Facebook. But you do have to have that strong visual content. I like Facebook because it's a mix, and you can do text content, you can do links, you can do photographs. It's kind of a mix of all those. But if you're really targeting that under 35 market, you're going to have to step up your photo game, like major big time. My sister used to say that. She'd be like, major big time. So you're going to have to really be on top of that photo game. Okay, do I have similar insights for TikTok? I do not personally. I do not have those in here, but you can look up TikTok demographics, TikTok half-life, and you can find that information on Google. They'll serve it up to you, and it'll be whatever the current information is. Okay, let's talk about Pinterest and LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, the two. I feel like these are like the adults in the room. I really feel like Facebook and YouTube are for like this, like you can see here, this Gen X, this like older millennial group. And then we've got these two youngins, these Instagram and Twitter. They're like the kids, like the young kids from that second marriage, right? And then we've got these Pinterest and LinkedIn. They're like the parents, These have these older demographics. They're a little more established. They have more of a kind of a gravitas to them a little bit. Majority women, Pinterest is a majority women. Obviously, it's all that home stuff and kid stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's men and women because it's business. It's strictly business. There's not really a lot of fluff on there. You're going to see all these marketing posts and business insights and financial stuff and all that stuff that goes with business. It's all going to be on there. The age ranges on in Pinterest are 18 to 69. I mean, it's just such a wide range because so many people use it. And Pinterest, though, are 10% more likely to actually buy something through Pinterest. that crazy? Because on Facebook, I'm always like, I don't know, because I actually got swindled one time, and I will not do that again. So with Pinterest, though, I don't know, a little more trust is there. And the half-life of a Pinterest post, let me tell you, it's actually 151,000 hours, which equates to about 3.5 months. I like the 151,000 hour number, but it doesn't really translate as much to like real life. So it's about 3.5 months that your post will live on Pinterest. This because it gets recirculated so many times and so quickly by other people that you really just put it up there once and it just kind of goes like wildfire. So it's pretty awesome. So LinkedIn is, users are actually less likely to use the other platforms. So if you have a B2B business, you definitely want to be utilizing LinkedIn more. And Kay and I know about this because we use it all the time. We actually comment back and forth. But it's definitely, those people that tend to be on LinkedIn don't tend to also have Facebook accounts and Pinterest accounts. It's more like, this is work. I'm doing this for work. And then outside of this, I'm doing other things that are more important, than social media. So if you're really targeting that B2B target market, this is going to be where you really want to put that effort into. And then the half-life of a post is 24 hours, which is not bad. Also, 50% of users are making more than $75,000 a year, which is good because I know that the kind of the income ratios and brackets are changing a little bit just because, you know, we have increased, you know, prosperity in this country and things like that. But at least the 75,000 mark is kind of like that. Okay, if they're a business and they're in this range, that would tell you if they can afford your product and service or not. And especially if it's above that, that's kind of the low end of it. Question here from Margaret. Let's see. Can you put your website in Pinterest? Well, technically you can. I like to have blog posts that you use Pinterest for. You want people to, it's just social media. You don't want to just say, here's my website. Okay, that's it. I'm done. You want to use your blog posts and have those posted on Pinterest on a regular basis. And that's how they're going to get shared more. Because people on Pinterest want ideas. They want blogs. They want those how-tos, things like that. Those videos, things like that. They don't want you to just post your website and then they go to it and they're like, I'm not here to buy something. I wanted to know how to do X, Y, or Z. So use your blog posts for more of a Pinterest, you know, content, and then you're going to see more traction from that. Let's see, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube for Kay. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, you've got LinkedIn is going to be a good one. So those are some demographics. I have this ebook I sell on my website. There's a lot of other pieces that come with it. I'm actually going to, it has the template that I use for all of my social media to create 6 months in a day. All of that's together. I actually have some pre-done templated posts that are already in Canva for you. You can just click it and you can type in your own questions and they're already like formatted and pretty and they look great. So I have all that together. So if you would like the link to that, you let me know and I can certainly send it to you. Let me stop sharing here and go back to share our presentation. Okay, perfect. So let me see, question. My little chat box window got gone. Okay, here it is. So yeah, if you want the link, go to my website and just drop me a little note in my in the contact form, and I will send you guys that, or I can send it to Allie as well, and we can send out with the video and everything. So I'll send all that stuff information out. Okay, so accounts and tools. So I use several accounts for my business. Let me just make sure nobody's, okay, I just want to make sure nobody's trying to get in. For my business to help me do all these things a lot faster. So I'm going to share some of those with you now. You can use what I call native apps for scheduling. And native is meaning if you use Facebook, you can schedule through Facebook. If you use Instagram, I don't think they have a scheduling thing in Instagram. I might be wrong. But you can basically use those platforms and they have like a way to set it for later, like post it later kind of thing. But I don't like those very much because you can't do a mass amount at one time. And also they're just really hard to use and very cumbersome. So I actually use Social Pilot. I love Social Pilot. It's $25 a month. I also have a link for that as well. I'm going to put my tools link here so you guys can see some of the other tools and get links direct to this. So this is my tools link, and I have all my tools listed there. So everything I'm going to mention is listed. But Social Pilot is great. It's got a calendar that you can actually see. So like a grid calendar. And I can see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all the way across. And then it shows me in like a list in each box if I have a Facebook post posting that day, if I have an Instagram post posting that day. It gives me this great grid view. And I can really see, oh, I don't have anything on Wednesday. I should post something on Wednesday. And so it shows me everything together. And so when I'm creating my 6 months ahead of time, I can actually put all of it in there and basically just see where I'm having holes and gaps. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to post in a minute, but I want you to kind of know what the tools are so you have those ready to go. I use Unsplash and Pexels for stock photos. They're free, which is great. If you have a stock photo company you work with, you know, those dollar stock photo companies, those are great too. I use AppSumo, which is also on my tools page, for getting great deals on stock photos for like the whole year. So they have like a special they put out every year for $49 and you get like 100 credits. And that's a great deal. So I do things like that to kind of stockpile some stock photos so that when I go to do these things, I can have them ready and I can just sit down and just run through everything. I want to have all my tools together. It's kind of like when you bake or when you make something in the kitchen and you get the recipe out and then you're like, oh, I need the flour. So then you go into the pantry and you get the flour and then like, oh, I need the baking soda. And you go back to the pantry and you get the baking soda. So what you try to do is you want to gather all the tools first so that when you sit down, you are actually ready to create the content rather than trying to go, oh, now I got to go download this thing. And oh, now I got to sign up for that. And then you're kind of all over the place. So you want to get these tools set ahead of time and then sit down for your full day. I also use Canva for all my graphics. It's a really quick and easy way to just kind of like online Photoshop sort of, but like easy, drag and drop. And I have a ton of templates for that too I can share with you guys. So researching. Now we're going to write stuff. Okay. I got to take another drink because we're going to write stuff. How's everybody doing so far, by the way? Are we good? Are we good? Awesome. Whew, okay. This is so good. All right. Thank you. Holidays. Everybody knows which holidays are coming up. Wherever you are, you know what the holidays are. You can look up a list online. You can type in US holidays, Chinese holidays, like whatever you want to put in there, right? You type in the list and you just find that whole list. And you start with, I usually start with I have a Word document that I created that has every single day listed for the entire year. And I go through that list in that Word document and I say, okay, July 4th is American Independence Day. So I put in July 4th is American Independence Day. Then February 14th is Valentine's Day. So I go to February 14th and I type in Valentine's Day. I literally just type those things in. Guess what? Those days are done. You might have 20 holidays in a year. Done. All done. 20 days. Done. And I have an entire template of all the holidays posts already created. You can also find those online. Or you can just find a picture of a flag for, you know, your 4th of July post, or a picture, like some picture of hearts for, you know, Valentine's Day. You want to make sure it's on brand, of course, but you can do these things really easily, right? So now we know what's going to go on those days. We don't want to worry about necessarily about the content, like those actual pictures right this minute, but we just want to say these days are filled in our list. We're done. Okay, so we have every day of the year listed, and then we just have those days filled in. The rest of them are blank next to each day. Special occasions. Maybe it's the anniversary of the day you open your business. Maybe it's your birthday. Maybe it's, you know, like I have a friend that said she became a citizen. That they mean something to you. So that you can share that with other people, but in like a whenever it's necessary way. You don't like have it overloaded. So you might put a few dates in there. So now we have a few more days in. And then we have known events. Maybe you have like SBDC, they have the SBDC month or SBDC week, and they know this is coming up. It's like their special week-long celebration thing they do. They have all these posts that they do especially for it. So for every day that week, or maybe it's National, you know, Nurses Week, or, you know, things like that, right? You can look these up online too if you don't know any that are for you, if you don't have any like personal known events. Or maybe you're going to be like at a show, or you're going to be doing a big seminar, or you're going to be speaking somewhere. These are known events. So you can actually put that information in ahead of time. As soon as you know it, you put it into your calendar on that list that we talked about. You can also go online and find out, like I said, National Nurses Week, National Take Your Kid to Work Day, things like that. And you can create whichever posts make the most sense for you. So if National Taco Day is, or, Taco Tuesday, or, Cinco de Mayo, those things are not necessarily going to go with your brand. If you're like, I'm not really a fan of tacos, doesn't really go with my brand, that's not really part of my demographics culture, then you don't have to post that. But maybe you have a health business, so some kind of fitness, whatever, and you're thinking, I want to post, today's National Brussels Sprouts Day. Okay, everybody kind of hates Brussels sprouts, but there's probably a pretty cool recipe you can think of or find or you have for that. So you could put National Brussels Sprouts Day, and then next to it you put recipe. And you know that when you go back to that, you'll know what that means. And you'll be able to find that content, make a post, and be done. Be really quick and easy. So what we're doing right first off is we're taking with starting with these really simple pieces that we already know in our head. We can research online really fast, and we just want to create a calendar. We're not writing anything yet. We're not creating any graphics yet. We want to just fill this calendar in as much time as we want. So if we want to do 6 months, we would have a calendar that would just be, or a list and Word document. There would just be a list of every day for the next 6 months. Monday the 15th, Tuesday the 16th, Thursday the 7th, whatever, right? So you want to have that whole list, and you just start filling in next to it. Days of the week is another option. You can create a separate list. I like to create a separate list. So like I talked about Flower Friday. You can do Small Business Saturday. You can do Tech Tip Tuesday. It's a big one. You can do Throwback Thursday. You can do, so you can have all these things, right? Workshop Wednesday, all this stuff. When you come up with your little titles for your weekdays, then you think 6 months. Okay, I'm going to create 6 months of something. I'm going to create 6 months of Flower Fridays. I need, what's half of 52? 26, right? I need 26 flowers. And I need to have 4 for January, 4 for February, 5 for March, 5 for April, right? So how many Saturdays are each one, right? So you basically know that you need 26 flowers. So now it's your time to go online. You start researching what flowers bloom in January. Okay, I'm going to pick 4. Put those in my list. On this Saturday in January, or this Friday in January, first Friday in January is bluebells. Second Friday in January is crocuses. The third Friday in January is baby's breath. The fourth Friday, you're going to do that, right? You're not creating a post yet. You're not creating pictures yet. You are just putting those things in. We are building this in layers, okay? So we're just layering on until every single day is filled. We can find 26 of something. We can find 26 inspirational quotes, right? And if you find some, some quotes that you want to do, copy them and paste them into your Word document. If you have a photo that you want to use, don't just pull it from the internet. You're not allowed. You need to make sure you're using those stock photos that are royalty-free or licensed to you. So that's why we start with this text layer that just says bluebells on January 16th, which is the second Friday of the month, right? So if we say bluebells on January 16th, after we filled in this whole calendar with text, we go back to the top and we say, okay, I'm on January 16th now. It says bluebells. I need to go to my contact, for my deposit photos, Shutterstock, whatever. I need to go to my thing that has my credits in it, or where I can get a stock photo, and I need to look for bluebells. I need to find a good picture of it. I need to save that to my desktop, and I need to title it January 16th. That's it. So then you go through your whole list and you start creating all the graphics you need in Canva. You start saving photos from royalty-free services, and you start creating this folder that all the photos and everything that you put in there has dates associated. Like instead of naming it bluebells, I'm going to name it January 16th because that goes with January 16th, right? Then we have this third piece. Let me go down here. Document for notes. Just talked about that. Hold on. Okay. So we have this third piece, this third go through, and this is all done in one day, by the way. So this shouldn't take you too long. You should be kind of moving through this pretty quickly once you get on a roll. First 2 hours are the hardest, I promise. Once you get to that third wave through, so now you've created all your text, you've created all of your graphics that go with that text. If it's just the graphic you're posting, that's fine. And you could have that, that quote you might have created a graphic in Canva for that quote. So now you have all these pieces and they're all saved to your computer. Then you go into Social Pilot and you just start matching them up and just putting them together. And sometimes I actually feel the urge, the need to write while I'm doing that. So like I'll have a post that just says Bluebells Flower Friday, January 16th, and I put the photo in. I might actually say something about that there. I might actually write something. I might write something beforehand, you know, when I was writing the word Bluebells or whatever in that initial round, but I actually might have some thought now, like, oh, that my grandmother used to have those on her table all the time. I need to put, you know, this is one of my favorite flowers. A lot of brides use this if they have blue in their wedding. I remember my grandmother used to have these on our table. You know, like something that you're just giving that little extra connection piece, that little extra, you know, emotional connection to that. So that's your third wave. So you have three things you're going to do. You're going to create these notes. You're going to create your graphics that go with it, and then you're going to put them together into your scheduler. And it, like I said, it takes about 8 hours. And the first 2 hours are really that hardest part to kind of get your mind focused. But if you can stay focused and not get distracted with your phone or distracted with a phone call, or if you can really sit down and say, don't bother me for 8 hours and actually work on just this, you will get 6 months done and you'll feel like, oh my gosh, I just completed all of that. It's all done. I can't believe that. The other piece for each post that you're going to want to write, you're going to have solid content. You want to actually have something written. We don't want to just post photos unless it's like maybe just a quote, an inspirational quote we have on an image or something like that. But we don't want to just post a photo and just be like, here's a flag, and not say happy 4th of July or, you know, wishing your family well on 4th of July or something like that, right? We want to have something. We just be like, here's a flag, have a nice day. And then you want to have appropriate length. Have you seen these Facebook posts that are like, they're like those CVS receipts? They're just like super long and they just keep going and going. We want to make sure that they're appropriate length. We don't want to have people trying to read a book, you know, while we're writing a Facebook post. If you have that much to say, it should be a blog post and then you link to it, right? I never read all those. Those are just too long. And then you want to have enough for a set period of time. And then you want, if you're doing an event, you would definitely want to have enough, you know, prior to your event, whether it's an online event or, you know, an in-person event, whichever that is. You want to make sure you're doing like 6 weeks of promotion for that. So if you're doing something like that. A video, yes, videos are also great. So if you have some videos that you want to pre-record, we'll talk about lives in a minute, but definitely if you have some pre-recorded stuff, you can definitely post those, and those are always great ways of, instead of having, you know, a photo, you put the video instead. And I always still like to preface the videos or photos with just a little bit of text, one sentence even helps and goes a long way with people actually engaging with it. You want to have good images. Again, stay on brand. You don't want to have something that doesn't look like your brand. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but throughout this entire presentation, I have photos on almost every single slide. And they all go with my brand. They don't look out of place for me. So make sure you're working with your brand person or a brand strategist. I do brand audits and things like that to make sure that you're using those things that actually go with your brand. I use Unsplash. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the last piece. I'm going to leave this up here for a few minutes. I'm going to get a drink of water because I'm like, I've been talking too much. And if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat and I will respond. But this is the exercise for these formulas to actually write these things. So if you write 13 of something, it's for a quarter of the year. So 13 times 4 completes a year of that day. So for example, Friday or Saturday. So if you do 13s of something, that's for about 3 months. It's about 3 months of content for one whole day. So remember we talked about you have 52 Saturdays, you have 52 Fridays. That's the average, right? And so what we want to do is break this down to smaller chunks. If you want to do 52 of something, I want to find 52 flowers to put on Flower Friday. That's going to give you an entire year's worth of Fridays. If you want to find 26 of something, 26 inspirational quotes, that's going to give you 6 months, one day, every Monday, inspirational Monday, like all the way down, right? And if you want to find 13 of something, then you would get 3 months of that. So 3 months of Wednesdays, 3 months of Tuesday tips, right? And if you do those multiple times, that's going to actually give you a whole year's worth. So if you do 2 to 26, you do a topic You know, every other Tuesday, you know, is this topic, and every other Tuesday, the other Tuesdays are this topic. So you do 26 of each, and you've got a whole year's worth done. I got some questions here. If we paid someone to do this for us, about how much should we pay? Well, I charge, I can tell you what I charge. I charge $1,800, and we do it together. So we do 6 to 12 months, depending how much we can get done. We do that together, and it takes an 8-hour period. But you're using my brain too, so I'm like giving you all my ideas and like coming up with all the cool stuff. So, but if you wanted to do something like that, paying someone to do this is really hard, like pricing, because you don't know what you're going to get from that. So I've actually had some people hire some social media managers before who were kind of on that cheaper side, who were like, well, we're just starting out, we need help, you know, okay, we'll help you kind of thing. And the writing was awful. Like there was grammar issues, and there was, you know, punctuation stuff, and there's spelling errors like crazy. So you want to be really careful. That's why I try to recommend that people do this themselves once. You need to go through this process yourself one time, because once you've gone through it, you can really then tell someone else what you want them to do. Because a lot of it is all up here, and we don't always have everything written down of how our brand should be portrayed or how we want to actually be seen online. And so this is a great way to kind of get that information out there and have a year's worth of content done, or 6 months even. And then you can go to someone and say, do you see the last 6 months of our social media? I want it to be more of this. Then they have a clear plan, a clear idea of what they can do going forward for you. And then they can manage it on a daily basis, a weekly basis, however you want them to. But at least getting this initial piece done, you can have this really solid foundation for someone to build off of. What is the frequency of posting on social media? I'm preparing 6 months of content. What is this for each day of the week? I recommend 3 to 7 times a week, once a day. Some of my clients, 3 times a week is plenty for their business, for their nonprofit, whatever it is. The way that their stuff is structured, we're giving less, but we're giving more value in each piece. So we want people to have a little more time to kind of digest it. And so 3 days a week for some of my clients, I do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Then other clients, we do every single day. Some clients we do Monday through Friday. It really depends on your business and what's going to work the best for you. So I'd recommend talking to a strategist, someone who's in marketing, to actually discuss that about your specific business. And if anybody wants to talk to me, you can let me know and we can discuss it as well. Let me go back to the questions. I'm going to get to all your questions, so just keep putting them in. They're good. Alana says, should I plan to do every day or focus on one day of the week? How much is too much? Well, there's never too much, because Facebook's not going to show it to everybody anyway. You're going to feel like it's too much because you're going to see all of it, right? Not everyone's going to see all of it. So we want to do enough where we're actually putting out enough content that we're being seen somewhat, but we're never going to be too much, okay? I feel like if you're posting multiple times a day, every single day, that's going to be too much. But really, even then, you're not being seen as much as you think you are, or you feel like you are, because Facebook only shows about 20% of your posts. So we want to make sure that we're posting good content. We're not just throwing stuff out there like, oh, I got to post 3 times a day, you know. So we want to just make sure they're good pieces of content that are solid, that make sense for the customers we're trying to attract and the customers we already have. Do holiday special events, known events, trump daily, weekly posts? No, well, actually, sort of. They sort of do, because I like to supersede that. I like to start with the holidays first. I want those to fill in first. And then I go back and add my weekly posts to fill in what's left. Because the holiday ones just give you that content up front. You don't have to really do much for it. Especially if you go on and you look up specialized holidays, like in the medical field or in the health field or in the business field, finance field. There's so many different like specialized holidays. Restaurants have special holidays. There's a lot of food holidays, National Redhead Day. Like there's things like that that are just fun. That it's good to break up your content. You don't want to have so much heavy buy from me or anything like that, right? We also want to make sure we're adding into this, which I don't know why the slide wasn't in here, but to make sure you're doing that ask. Maybe you need to do 13 asks, and once every 4 weeks, you know, on Friday. Instead of posting a flower once every 4 weeks, you're like, hey, if you need help with your flowers, because every Friday is Flower Friday, right? If you need help with your flowers, call us and let us know. We'd love to help you. And you throw that in once every 4 weeks. That's only once a month you're asking, just once a month. But then you might do another one on Tip Tuesday. And once every 4 weeks on Tuesday, you say, hey, we're here to help you if you need help with these tips, right? So you want to do it like scatter your asks around, right? Scatter them around. Let's see, 1,800 for 6 months of posting. So yeah, Ellie, I charge 1,800 for my social media in a day process. We actually meet together virtually or in person for a whole day. And we create all of this stuff. It's 6 to 12 months. Sometimes we can get like 9 months done, depending on how quickly we actually do all the stuff. So some people have even gotten 12 months done. So it just depends on how fast we work and how much we can actually brainstorm and get moving, you know, all the stuff moving forward. So it's 6 to 12 months for 1,800. Twitter, how many posts per day may be reasonable? 2 to 3. You don't want to go overboard. I mean, Twitter is a little bit more conversational, I feel like, as well. So if you are trying to have more of a conversation with people, Twitter, you can't really post as much ahead of time. You can some of it, and you can schedule some of it. And I do that when I like put Facebook and Twitter together. I'll post them together and they're the same. But Twitter is a little bit more, because it's so fast moving, you do have to be a little bit more on the kind of on the fly with it. So I actually recommend doing things you would post on Facebook or LinkedIn and also post them to Twitter, like just set up the schedule to do that. And then all of this is about the more the merrier. Hold on one second. All of this is about being, you know, the more the merrier. The more posts you have, the better. This is to really free you up so that you're not sitting there every day going, what am I going to post? What am I going to post? What am I going to post? You're actually saying, I don't have to post anything today. I am really busy. I have got workshops and all this stuff going on, right? And you don't have to post today. But tomorrow something happens and you're like, I'm so excited. I need to put this video out there. I need to share this link. I need to, whatever it is, right? Something happened today. I need to share something important about CV19, whatever, stuff like that. Then you feel free to do that and you have more brain capacity to think of those things to post, because you're not having to sit there every day and kind of like beat your head against the wall going, oh my gosh, I gotta post, right? So what we want to do is just use this as our foundation. And if we want to post more, great. But as long as we have this foundation running, Google sees us as consistent, Facebook sees us as consistent, and also our customers see us as consistent. Have you ever been to a Facebook page and they haven't posted for like 3 months? And you're kind of like, are you guys still even open? Like, is this still like a thing? And you're not sure, right? So just want to make sure that you're posting. You can always post more, but this is kind of your baseline, just giving you that baseline. All right, some more questions here. Less with more value. True, that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that back up. Also, if you want to send me an email, I have my link in the chat. So if you want to scroll through the chat and read through, you can send me a link or send me an email and I'll get some information to you as well. Let me see here. I got a couple more questions I'm going to answer. And then also, if you want to book a chat with me, please feel free to do that. My link is in here, elizabethpampalone.com/book. I'd love to talk with you about your specific thing if I don't get to your answer or don't fully answer it the way you might need it answered. 3 to 7 times on each platform or total. So what happens when you use Social Pilot? Thank you for the question, Ellie. What happens when you use Social Pilot is you actually, you post it once and you can say, I want it to go to Facebook, I want it to go to Twitter, I want it to go to LinkedIn. You like connect it to each one. So you're posting something one time and it's sharing it with all 3 or all 4 platforms. So I do it that way. It's not about things being the same. I know people are always worried about, you know, well, what if I post the same thing on all the platforms? That's going to be bad. It's not. Not everyone is on every platform. We just clearly saw that. So someone who's on Facebook might also be on LinkedIn, but it's just a reiteration for them. They're like, oh yeah, I was going to watch that video. Oh yeah, I was going to click on that link. But instead of being like, oh my gosh, I saw the same post on Facebook. Like, it's not about that, right? It's like more of a reminder. So don't feel like if you post something on one, you can't post it on the others. You do it once and you post on the other ones. That's kind of this algorithm proof idea, that you're not focusing on, well, it has to be different here and it has to be different there. No, like just create content that's universal, that it can be used on multiple platforms. So a lot of my Facebook posts are short enough to fit on Twitter if they need to. So any specific times to post, Brenda asks. Yes. So if you want to look at your current Facebook analytics, you can go into your Facebook account, your Twitter account, look at your analytics there. That will tell you when people are on, when your posts are seen the most, when your posts are most engaged with, and you can tailor it to that. I kind of stick to the old, kind of old school way of doing it. I do like to do like a 9/11, 1, and 3. And then sometimes I'll do like an 8 or 9 p.m. post. So 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and then something around 1 or 3 p.m., and then maybe something once in the evening. So I randomize mine. I don't really have them any specific time because, again, Facebook serves it up whenever they really want. So they might not see it then, but I just kind of randomize mine throughout the day, depending on what it is I'm posting and who I think might actually be the most served by it. So if it's more for a business owner who's full-time business owner, I'm going to post it during the day because they're looking on Facebook. They're doing things on, their own Facebook pages and things like that, or LinkedIn. But if I'm going to post it towards professionals or people who would come to an evening class, or if it's something like those kind of people that I know are like my evening demographic, then I'm going to post it later in the evening. All right. What about Google Posts and Yelp? So Google My Business is not really up there as far as being a full-fledged social media, I guess, but it does help people who are searching for you locally, or who are searching for you like through your name directly on Google, and then that little thing box pops up in the corner that says, this is Google My Business and this is their location and their website and all that. Yelp I do not like. I don't think it's bad to be on Yelp as just to have a Yelp listing, but I do not recommend purchasing anything from Yelp. They have had a huge reputation issue by not giving people their money. I have some horror stories I could tell you, some clients that have been mixed up with them. But if you want to be listed there, that's fine. Or if you are listed there, that's fine. But do not pay them anything. It gets very, very hairy very quickly. So if you want any more information about that, I can talk to you specifically about that. And I'll just put again in here my link just so you guys have it, because I know some of you probably have questions that I might not get to today, but I will definitely have this link so you guys can chat with me anytime you want. So let me go back up here and just keep going through the questions. Professional services firm, and we use exclusively LinkedIn. Should we use another platform as well? The professional services, I really think you're good with LinkedIn. I think maybe Twitter might be a good option, and YouTube. I would check into just some YouTube stuff. Share with people about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and how they can kind of DIY some of this, because I'm sharing all this with you guys. Obviously I do this as a business, and I do this for a living, but I want to share this with you guys because I know that this is a DIY thing that you can do. So do that kind of stuff, share those little tidbits, do those little like mini seminar type things, but in YouTube form. I do want to talk really quick before I go on with the questions. I'm going to get to your question, Barry, in just a second. But Allie just said to mention that, let me see here. Oh, she just said to mention that there will be an SBDC survey coming out right after the seminar. So you guys give me 5 stars, right? I mean, I was pretty good. So don't forget to look for that through your email. Do check your junk folder just in case. But you should get that from the SBDC, and you want to make sure you fill out that form for me, because it helps me a lot. So after you make your list, how do you post them sequentially? So I just go down my list. So I have them all in order by date, and then I go down that list. I put them in the calendar sequentially, and then they just post, according that way. So sometimes I'll repeat posts. So I might post something today, and then also I'll post it once 6 months from now. So I will put that in my calendar as well, the one that I write up, my little Word document calendar. So I'll put that post and I'll copy it and put it down below as well. So then when I actually create that post, I put it in twice, and it puts it into my social media scheduler twice. That way it can post on those 2 days separately. So I hope that answered your question. Joni, which is more valuable, Google ads or Facebook ads? They're both bad. They're both horrible. I don't recommend doing any ads until you've talked to somebody about ads, because there's a lot you need to know about ads and how bad and how good they can be. I actually was doing ads for my seminar that I was going to be doing at the end of May, which is but I was doing ads for that. I did it for 3 months. I spent a ton of money. Even though I had talked with someone, we had a great plan. We had a solid plan. All I got was awareness. So if you're looking for more brand awareness and you're ready to pump money into it, ads are okay, but don't expect a lot in return. It's kind of like, the mailing idea. If you mail out, you do like a postcard, it's like a 0.01% return or 1% or something like that. Very, very low percentage of return on the postcards. This is almost worse. It's almost worse. So don't expect return on it, but if you want to do them, it's fine. It will help with brand awareness and get more people knowing about you, but it won't necessarily turn into sales. Should we ever boost a post like when you're promoting a new program? You can. Again, it's that whole once you start, you can't stop kind of thing. Facebook doesn't like it when you stop posting or boosting. So I would be careful with that. I would actually, instead of boosting a post, I would go into your groups that you're in and find out when their promo days are and actually start promoting through that, because you're going to get a lot more engagement, because in groups, this is why I have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. In groups, every single person sees every single post. So you definitely want to use that more. I would actually say that would probably help you more and boost it than boosting a post and paying for it. Ellie, thoughts on asking clients or customers to post reviews on assorted sites? I love this idea. I actually use, there's some text message, SMS message websites that you can utilize to actually help you do this. And I love that. So if you have the ability to utilize those, I would definitely do that. But I do actually ask people to do reviews on different sites. Sometimes I also would kind of use my different review sites for different platforms, or for different products and services. So a lot of my Facebook reviews are when I've helped people with their websites. A lot of my Google reviews are when I've helped people with their social media, stuff like that. So I kind of like segmented mine a little bit, but you can also use emails to go out after you do a session with someone or you work with someone. I actually do videos right when I'm working with somebody. So if you go to my website, you can see I have a page that has all my testimonials. I actually record a video of them right when we're done with our session. So, some people want to do it, some people don't, but a lot of people do it for me. It's really great. But I do like this text message idea, or this email after the fact idea, kind of like with SBDC, they're doing this survey afterwards, kind of that idea, like, hey, give us a review, let us know how we did. And you get most people to return it for you, especially if you mention it to them before you actually send it, not just be like, okay, have your service, bye. And then they go home and then all of a sudden they get this text message they weren't expecting. And they're like, I don't have time for that right now. So if you've already mentioned it to them, it's like a reminder, oh yeah, they wanted me to do that. Let me do that real quick. So it works. Brenda asks, repeat the ask once a month or once a week on different days. So when you do your ask, you're promoting your business, you're selling your official selling items through your social media, through this platform, the way that I kind of set all this up. I like to do it, you want to just, like, I've written like 10 sales posts. I do that too. I'll like write 10 sales posts that are all like not hard selling, but like sell, right? They're selling, they're actually asking for the sale. And then I'll spread them out. So we'll do one on a Monday and one on a Friday, and they'll be like 3 weeks apart. And then I'll do one on a Tuesday and one on a Thursday, and they'll be like 2 weeks apart. So I'm really randomizing them so that I'm getting them in there, but they're not like, well, every Tuesday she asks us for the sale, right? So we want to just kind of do it a little more random, or I'll do it like every 6 weeks I'll post this same post, or every 10 weeks I'll post this same post of ask. And it might be on any day that 10th week. So I'll do once on the 1st of January, and then I won't post it until February, sometime the week of February 15th. And it could be any day that week. So you can kind of put those in first, kind of when you do the holidays, maybe put some of those sales posts in first so that those are in, and then go back and fill in with your weekdays and your, fancy holidays and your other things that you're promoting, things like that. Like, other events and other, crazy holidays and stuff. And Flower Friday and all that. So I hope that answers your question. If you want to talk more about that, please do set up a call with me. I'd like to kind of maybe give you some more insight on that if you're still confused or like fuzzy on it, because I know it's like a lot of information. Joni asks, is there a free platform we could possibly use if we don't want to pay the money for Social Pilot? No, unfortunately, there is not. All the free ones that I've used in the past have been awful. They've just been awful. They don't do what they say. Sometimes they don't post things. Sometimes there's like glitches and then they don't post until it's like too late. Like, I don't know. So I've just had a lot of issues with those. Social Pilot is $25 a month. I feel like it's very worth it to pay that, especially if you can get someone in-house to do this part of it. So if you're doing it yourself, or if you're working with someone to do this, or you can get like a staff member to help you, the $25 is worth every penny. Because it's like, if you look at what you would pay an actual, marketing manager or social media manager to do a full social media managing suite. I know somebody asked this question earlier. I've seen it as high as $1,700 a month. And that's when they do everything for you. So, I think the $25 is like justified. So if you can't do that, there's free ones out there. Just know that I don't really endorse them because I know that some of them don't work as well. But this one I know works and it's solid. So, let's see. Does this help? It does help with SEO for sure. Google My Business is good for SEO. Yes. Okay, that's true. I do, like I said, I like Google My Business, but I don't have any like official. It's not an official platform, I would say. So it's kind of like there's no official demographics or anything I have for it. But, posting on that, make sure you have the reviews. That's a huge thing. The reviews are big for Google My Business. So keeping up with that. Let's see. I use Google Merchant that shows photos for shopping. Yeah, that's another option. There's lots of things out there I'm not mentioning today, but yeah, there's lots of different options out there. Let's see. You said every 10 weeks you should post where you ask customers to buy your services, such as go to your site and get 10% off. Yeah, so that every 10 weeks I do like is I ask for the sale. But then I might also 2 weeks after that first one, so like the week of January 1st, I might post my post, and then 10 weeks later I'll post the same post. Then maybe like the third week of January, I'll put another sales post in and do that one every 10 weeks. So you're kind of, it's really hard to explain, but you want to kind of stagger them, almost like put the sales post in a little bit more randomly. You want it to seem like, oh, by the way, I just forgot to tell you, yeah, you can buy this from us. And then, education, value, tips, tricks, helpful hints, how-tos, industry information, right? So you're like giving all these pieces. And then you're like, oh, and by the way, yeah, we do this for a living, so you can talk to us about it. So you kind of want to throw it in. You don't want it to be too sparse. You want to do like 2 to 3 sales posts a month, but you don't want it to be too heavy either, where it's like every single week you're like, oh my gosh, you got to buy from us, right? The other thing you want to do is make sure you're being seen as an authority, and you can also post other articles from other people. So when you're talking about, let's say it's Flower Friday, maybe you found this really great article on the knot.com, which is, Wedding Central practically, and they talk about how to choose the perfect flowers for your wedding. Okay, that's a Flower Friday post. You don't have to always post the flower every Friday. Or like I said, you could say, hey, we do this as a consultation. We'd love to help you with your flowers. We're a wedding venue, but we know a lot about flowers, blah, 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 right? So then that's another post. So you want to kind of make sure that your content is varied. You don't have to always say every Monday is Inspirational Monday, and it just has to be an inspirational quote. That's just an easy, quick way to get a lot of content. But if you have the ability to put other things in there that also help people see that you're bringing them good information from around the web, not just your own information, then that works as well. It's called curated content, and it's the Social Pilot actually has an option where you can type in marketing, and it will give you tons of articles on marketing from Forbes and Inc. and Wired and Mashable and New York Times, and like all these different articles about marketing, current articles, things that are happening, relevant stuff. And you can use those in your weekdays, or just to fill in some of your spaces, to show that you're curating content for your clients and bringing them the best information you can. Okay, what do you get for $25? Oh, with Social Pilot. So you get their it's not their pro, but it's like their premium, I guess, like the middle or like low to middle side of Social Pilot. You do get most of the things you would need. You can do all your posts. You can do a whole year's worth of posts for that amount. And I think the only reason they have up higher levels is because people use this for agencies as well. And so they could do like multiple clients and they could do tons and tons and tons of posts every day. But the $25 one just pretty much gets you everything you need to run an entire small business off of that. Is a theme every day too much? For example, Meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday. No, because you don't have to say the theme every day. You don't have to say the theme all the time. You can actually just allude to it. You could just be like, Taco Tuesday, here's a taco recipe. And then for Wellness Wednesday, you could say, have you moved today? Make sure you put your wellness at the top of your list. And here are some tips of things you can do to move today. So you don't have to say it's Wellness Wednesday. We have to do these things. So you can have those and not have to like say so much about every single day. You have to title it and say it's Wellness Wednesday, So there's ways of getting around that as well. And you won't have the same post every single week either. You might actually have a Wednesday where you put a sales post in. And it could be talking about wellness. Or your sales post might be focusing on how you can make healthy tacos, and you can get a recipe book, and here's a link to our recipe book. So your asks also don't have to be for money. Your asks can be for email addresses. They can be for people to subscribe to something like your YouTube channel. They could be for, here's a freebie that I created. Those asks are also sales. And so you can use those as well. So instead of writing, I got to write 10 sales posts, how do I sell myself 10 times? You can actually, so you could subscribe to our Facebook page. You could subscribe to our YouTube channel. You could get this freebie. You could sign up for our email list, things like that. Those are different options and ways to ask for the sale. What tools do you use to monitor trending related hashtags? Oh, this is a really hard one. I don't use a ton of hashtags in mine. I've been burned by hashtags a couple of times, so I've kind of sworn off them a little bit. But the reason you would use a hashtag is because you want to be related to that same topic. So if there's a hashtag going around out there that's like COVID-19, hashtag COVID-19, okay, obviously we know that that's what everybody's talking about. And you're going to be seen by that. But what happens with hashtags is, one, you could get into one that's a little bit iffy. So one of my friends, she had this blog called Chocolate Rocks. And she loved chocolate and her son loved rocks. And so they basically wrote a blog about like a mommy and me blog. And she wanted to use the hashtag Chocolate Rocks. Unfortunately, there's already some connotation attached to that. It was not so family friendly. And so she had to stop using it because she didn't realize, she didn't do her research on it. So what was happening though with that is she tried to look for some other ones like Coffee Lover or I Love Coffee and things like that, right? So she tried to find an alternative one, but what was happening was the ones that she was looking at had thousands and thousands and thousands of posts. So that when someone actually goes and they click on that hashtag and they go to look at all the posts within that hashtag because they're interested in that subject, you're going to be buried. It's kind of like the Facebook feed thing. It's not going to live very long because there's 8 million people using this hashtag. Whereas if you find a lesser known hashtag, you might actually get seen more because there's only 100,000 people, not 1 million people using it. So hashtags are very, you have to be real careful. And you also don't want to spend so much time on them and researching them and like analytics and all that on them because your post may not live very long. You use it once or twice and then you're moved on to something else and that hashtag is, it took you 2 seconds and now it's gone. Live for 30 minutes and it's done. So I want you to know to remember not to spend so much time on some of these things. Okay, how do you feel about popular or not so popular people with similar brands on Instagram tagging us in their posts? Help us or hurt us? So someone on Instagram has tagged you and you're not sure how you feel about them tagging you because you do the same things. Is that correct? I just want to clarify. Let me know in the chat if that's what you mean, because I think that's what you mean. So the formula is to help, tap that, not just, no, they just randomly tag me in their post, they can end up on my tagged feed. Okay. Like an etiquette thing. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to do anything that you also hate. She just said, I hate that. I'm going to come back to your question, Marlene. Um, I tell this to people when they talk about marketing in general. I talk about this at my other classes I teach. If you are seeing something on Facebook, on Instagram, on social media in general, in marketing, and you're like, oh my God, I hate that. Like, why would they even do that? I hate that so much. If you're seeing that, don't do it. Like, I hate it when people write those really long Facebook posts. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to read through all this just to get to the meat of the situation here. So I don't write long posts like that. I'll do a video instead or something, right? If I have a lot to say, or I'll do a blog post and link it. So I try to be aware of, if I'm my own demographic, I'm part of my own demographic, or I'm at least, on the edge of that demographic. They don't like it. I don't like it. So I'm not going to do it also. So I would just say it's more of an etiquette thing. You don't, and if you're getting a lot of that, I would start marking them as spam or something, just so you can have that be flagged, or ask them to stop. And if they don't, then mark them as spam, because that's just an etiquette thing. But just try and keep, like, do unto others kind of attitude towards everything, because just like I said, just make sure that when you're creating something for marketing, even if someone's like, oh, you have to do this, it's the only way it works. If you don't feel comfortable with it being done to you, or being done to your feed, or being in your feed, those kind of things, like, you're like, oh, but I hate doing that. I hate that. Don't do it. Like, stay true to yourself, and that's going to help your brand long term. All right, let me go to Marlene's question. So the formula is to help us when or how to make a post based on the days of the week. Yeah, so this formula is, you want to have there's two different formulas here. There's the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can have a formula for that for each day of the week. And then this part of the formula is how many you write. So if you're going to do Flower Friday, if you want to do 3 months right now, then you can do 13 Flower Fridays. If you want to do 6 months right now, you would create 26 Flower Fridays. If you want to do an entire year right now, you would create 52 Flower Fridays. Then every Friday would be filled for a whole year. The days of the week thing is to give you more of a topic. So this is how many you're writing, and the other one, the weekday thing, is more about topics. So it's a little bit, there's two aspects of it. How many should you write, and then what are you talking about when you write? Like I said, I also do this ask for the sale post, or the sales posts. I write a finite number of those. I'll write 10 of them, and then I'll start randomly spreading them out throughout my set time period. So if I have 10, I could use those for a whole year, and I will start randomly spreading them out and then repeating them. For example, I have a question every Thursday on my Facebook page that I ask. I wrote 6 questions, and then what I do is I say week 1 is question 1, week 2 is question 2, week 3 is question 3. And when I get down to 6, week 7 is question 1, week 8 is question 2. So you see how that works? I go down again. I start over with my questions, because those questions are going to be relevant no matter what. I just have 6 questions. I run through them, and then I start them over. And I have 6 questions, and I run through them, and I start them over. So that every Thursday is a question, and it's asking people, excuse me, what are you working on this weekend, or what are you doing today that's helping your business? It's like those questions that can be asked over and over. And so that's what I do for Thursdays, but I use the same ones over and over and over. A lot of people you'll see do this in groups. They'll do this where they say, today everybody post, your workspace Wednesday, or something like that. And they'll just post it every single week, and they'll get that engagement of people responding to it. It works really well in groups because everybody can see it. Every post is seen in groups. It's a little harder to do on pages because not every post is seen by everybody. So you might have a whole series of posts that don't even get seen, and don't even get engaged with, and then one will just hit, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, where all these people come from? It's because that was one of the posts that was actually seen by a lot of people. Okay, we're coming to the end of our time. Any other questions? And again, like I said, feel free to use that chat link that I sent. Thank you so much, Ellen. I really appreciate it. If you don't forget about the SBDC seminar thing that's going to come out, the little survey, and I want you to do that for me, please. You get that in an email in a little bit here, and we're going to be sending out the rest of the stuff. If you did not you should have registered through the SBDC. They will have all of your emails. and I will send out that information through them to you, or somehow we'll get it to you. So thank you guys so much. I hope I'm underpaid for social media. Maybe I need a raise. Who knows? Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I am so glad. I'm glad you guys got some of your questions answered. If you have more questions, please feel free to contact me. Oh, thanks. I love doing this stuff. Someone said I was enthusiastic. Well, I appreciate that. I love doing this as well. So, let's see what else. There'll be a recording. So if you missed any of it, there'll be a recording. If you were signed up through SBDC, which I think everybody here was, then you should be a recording. So you'll be good. 6-month plan. Yes. I hope you guys can do this. And if you want to, contact me if you have any questions. Like I said, feel free. And I hope to hear, email me back and tell me how it's going. Send me a message. Let me know how it's going for you, what things you're running into. And I hope you can get your 6 months done. But you need to set aside the day, like the whole day. The whole day has to be just clear of distractions, which is really hard to do right now. I know, but you can do it. I promise. I'm so glad you learned a lot. Thank you so much, Kathy. Okay. Notice your website, you use your name. Think about doing the same thing to cover all my businesses. What is the benefit of using your full name? I'm actually moving to a different brand coming in April. So that's some new developments, some interesting things. But the reason I use my name is because I never saw my business as being bigger than me. And I have since changed my mind. I am creating a new brand that's going to be big enough that I will have quite a large team. I'm already developing that right now. We already have several people on board. We'll be working with nonprofits and businesses. So yeah, so we're building something bigger now. I've always used my name just because I felt like I was just kind of managing my own little bubble, and I liked that. And so I feel like that's really what you would use it for. But if you want to build bigger, and like Kay is saying, like if he went from a brand to his name, like I feel like sometimes in life and business, you want to like kind of go down and you side and like bring everything home and bring it close. And then other times you want to like go big and go out there, right? So I'm in that stage right now where I'm like, let's go big or go home. And I feel like Kay is, I've been watching him for a while. It's like, you want to kind of like bring it close. You want to be like here, like this is good. This is your bubble. You're good with this. So, so yeah, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to go big, it's time to get yourself branded and do an official brand, real brand. I'm going to put my new site in here so you guys can see it, sneak peek, beyondthecause.co. This is the new site. So this is a site we branded and we built in a day. So branding is in a day, and then Beyond the Cause is in a day, was done in a day, website was done in a day. So yeah, if you are looking for that kind of stuff, let me know. If you have absolutely no money, your name may be good. However, DBA is pretty cheap and still be the name, use a company name. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to do an S corp or anything, but you can create an LLC really quickly through, Florida's state website and wherever you are. But yeah, you can create a business name. But I really feel like a brand is where you start. You want to start with that piece that says, this is who we are, that mission, that vision, that tagline, the brand name. The name even can be important. I had this one company that was like, it was like something called like, not Axios, but like something like, some weird like word like that, and it just didn't mean anything. And they were like a decluttering. So they had this like grand name that just didn't mean anything, and it didn't have anything to do with what they were doing. So sometimes people choose weird names. And you want to make sure that if you're doing a brand, you kind of stay on track with that and you really focus on what you are trying to do, and what you're offering, So Beyond the Cause is what we're doing. We're offering that to help you beyond the cause. What about the marketing? What about the website? All that stuff. So, okay. So yeah, so Margaret, I think it'd be great if you want to have a chat with me. Please book a call. I'd love to chat with you more. I think there's a lot of things we could discuss and get you some more clarity. I'm a clarity coach as well. I do business coaching and clarity coaching, but I'd love to help you and like just talk through some things with you. So book a call with me. We'll just chat for a few minutes and talk about more stuff. All right. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm so glad you're here. And thank you, Kay, for being here as well. And if you have any questions, like I said, go to my website. Feel free to message me, email me, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and you're feel free to leave the group anytime. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.